Hey guys, so I'm just going to hit you with a real quick what sold video. I just decided to go ahead and show you what sold on our online platforms such as eBay and Ruby Lane the last part of May. So we're talking May 20th through the end of the month, the 31st. So there wasn't a ton of sales. It was kind of slow, so I just decided to put it all together and show you what I sold. We're starting off with a Filson shirt. Filson can be a really good brand. But I've noticed that women's clothing doesn't sell as well, and this particular one is kind of newer Filson, so vintage Filson is kind of desirable. I'm not saying that new Filson in like maybe substantial pieces in men's, like I would definitely still pick that up. You've probably seen in my recent what solds some of the pants that I had found in shorts that I think I've sold all of them, but they were all men's. So women's clothing's a little slower for me in this brand, and then this was also a size small, so I'm sure that had something to do with it as well. So I believe this one sold for like $27, and it had been listed a while, so we just went ahead and took the offer. Yeah, $27. We just took an offer for it to move it along. And then next up, we've got a Okay, this one sold really, really quickly. It sold for $34. The brand is Mons Royale or Mont Royale. Anyway, here, let me find a closer picture of. Nope, that's the fact that it's merino, and that's really what, here's the label. So that's really what sold it, was the fact that it was merino wool. I picked this up at a thrift store, like one of the next towns over, and paid a couple bucks for it. I think it was one of their half off clothing days. And it was just women's medium or whatever, and there weren't a ton of comps, but enough to let me know I should pick this up, and I would say it sold within a day or two. I got a $34 offer, and I went ahead and took that. Next up is a piece of studio pottery. So this was from our little honey hole place, and it just had, I think it had a couple markings. There might have been a marking on the bottom, but there was definitely a marking here on the base, a J and an M. Just a nice looking vase. It was about 7 inches tall. So I went to my handy dandy Facebook group, Studio Pottery Identification in the United States Pottery, and got an answer pretty quickly on this. I think they even said that in the past the daughter had been, this was an artist from California who had passed away, and they had said that the daughter was possibly, looking for pieces, but she was no longer in that group, so I didn't really have a way to get in touch with her. So I went ahead and listed it. It was someone else who bought it. I think I don't know if it ended up being a California resident or not, but anyway, someone was familiar with it, and so I got my identification, and then, I don't know, I set it on a shelf and kind of just got busy with other stuff and kind of forgot about it. So then I listed it, and it sold really, really quickly for $64. We were happy with that. But anyway, yeah, just a nice looking piece with the unglazed sections and everything like that. So studio potteries, fun, fun, fun. We're trying to keep our eye open for it, but we were talking about maybe doing a video on it. And not that I'm saying I know a ton about studio pottery, because I do not, but I'm learning as I go, as far as also not picking up, like knowing what's really well made. Like there's a ton of studio pottery, but there can be amateurs, and there can be just a kid who threw something together, and so just when you see a really nice piece, you can kind of tell right away. So just kind of sifting through all of that is just what I've been trying to teach myself. Because studio pottery in general, that kind of look is just really popular right now. Okay, just an example, not big money, $12. We just moved this on. This was just an example of the fun stuff that I tend to end up picking up. I know I picked this up for 10 cents. I remember the yard sale I picked it up at. In the yard sale, the woman just had a bunch of this new old stock, like old kind of five and dime store. I don't, nothing like high brands or anything like that, but just kind of fun little things. But, people used to keep their keys in these little leather cases. And anyways, from 1969, we sold that for $12. So that was fun. Sold a set of Arabia Finland plates. These were salad plates, the pattern in anemone. And anyway, I saw a bunch of this flatware. Man, I need more coffee. I saw a bunch of this dinnerware at the thrift store the other day, and someone in the back of the thrift store must have looked up Arabia. Because it's interesting. Not all Arabia sells like super, super high. It's always a brand that I look and double check with. But so I saw the dinner plates first, and honestly, the dinner plates were like utensil marked and everything like that. And I flip it over and I'm like, yep, Arabia, Finland, $15 a plate at the thrift store. I just kind of rolled my eyes. So on half price day, they'll be $7.50 a plate, but they're still trash. They're like not even in great condition. So I don't know what they're thinking. And then for like a couple rows down, I found more salad plates, and I found like bread and butter plates. And the bread and butters were like $8 and the salad plates were $10. So even on half off day, these salad plates would be $5 a piece, which, if you're buying for yourself, that would be a good deal. They're nice solid plates. But then, here's the mark, Arabia of Finland. But look, I sold 6 plates for $50, so I'm not going to go buy those plates for $30 to sell them for $50. So that's just not worth it. So I will leave those dinnerware plates at the thrift store, and they can go to hopefully a good home. Next one is a fun one. This was kind of a fun story. Okay, so these are, hold on a second, I'm going to go grab something. Okay, I just wanted to go grab this. So do you know these little pans by Corningware? They're little, okay, so if you can see them in my hand, they're not like the bigger ones or the deeper ones. They're called petite pans. They're just little. Okay. Anyway, I found a set of 2 of these, but not this pattern. It was the cornflower blue. The most common, ubiquitous Corningware pattern there is, right? And I found 2 of them, but they were at the yard sale with these plastic lids on them. And I was like, you know what? The plastic lids are not super common. So I don't know. She was asking $1 or $2 or whatever for them. So I bought the pair of 2. She made me take this other Corningware plate dish as well, but I didn't really want it, so I threw it in my yard sale that I haven't had yet, but is coming up. And so I had the 2, the 2 plastics. So I'm researching those petite pans with the plastic lids, right? So I found some comps and everything like that. Do you know that you would get less money selling the pans with the plastic lids than just the plastic lids by themselves? And like the plastic lids are way easier to ship. So I just took the plastic lids off. I sold them for $28.99 within a couple days. And then I just threw the Corningware, the cornflower blue, whatever pattern ones in my yard sale. So it worked out better just to sell like the replacement parts for it. Now, as a tip, as I was researching, if you ever find the teeny tiny glass lids that go on these things, one glass lid will sell for like $35 to $40. So now I'm keeping my eyes open for stuff like that. Okay, next up, pair of eyeglasses. Now I'm trying to remember. if I picked these up or if Mr. Pishposh did, it's most likely it was him, because he has more patience to dig through a big bin of eyewear than I do. But we sold these for $100. So they were just at a thrift store. I know that. The brand is Hoffman. It just says on the inside gold and horn eyewear. And anyway, we took a $100 offer on those. So that was definitely something. Yeah, I mean, I should probably make a video on eyeglasses as well, but there's money to be made in eyeglass frames, right? So this one it says what we put in our condition. It just says glasses have existing prescription lenses. Case has some wear and finish less on the edges. So you need to be a little, you have to be clear that you're just selling the frames, like you're not selling the prescription. And even Mr. Pishposh, I probably need to remind him about that. Case, glasses have, yeah. I think he needs to change his wording a little bit. And I think I told him this, so he might have done it on later listings. But you have to be clear that you're only selling the frames, that you're not selling anything prescription. We got away with it this time, but I'll give him a heads up on that next time. Sold some dinner forks for I think we took an offer, $35.32. Somebody was probably trying to make their shipping and tax and everything add up to like $50 anyway, like a $50 free shipping kind of deal. But yeah, I'll take $35 for 6 forks any day. And I think I just got those, I don't know. I thrift flatware kind of all over the place. Now we sold another pair. This one was easier because they were the lenses only, the frames only. There were no lenses. It was empty. We sold those for $60. And these I just kind of had stashed away to be listed someday. And I knew Mr. Pishposh was kind of on a roll selling and listing some vintage eyewear, safety glasses, things like that. We have always done well if we come across these black, thick, framed, even safety glasses or, that style from the 60s or whatever. These always sell. People want that Buddy Holly, Elvis Costello look, and they sell really well. So $60 is a really nice price for these. I think back in my early Etsy days, we found some new old stock safety glasses and we sold them. We thought we were doing great, but we sold them so low. But anyway, you just have to, in time, things change. Maybe things were a little bit more available or whatever, but now we know to try to list things a little bit higher. This was a belt that sold pretty quickly. Actually, I picked it up at Goodwill for a couple bucks not that long ago. I want to say it took a day or two to sell. The brand is called Torino. It's a nice looking belt. It's kind of nice. It doesn't have holes, like you can adjust it however you want. The belt just kind of goes, the little pointy thing just kind of sticks anywhere it wants to in that belt. And it was just nicely made. It was kind of like cord with like two leather strips going through it. And there's the brand, Torino. So anyway, it sold, like I said, really fast for the full asking price of $29.99. I sent a message to Mr. Pishposh. I'm trying to remember. I have this vision of him showing me this microscope that he bought, but I can't remember if we were at the bins clearance center when he picked it up. It kind of looks like that type of thing, that type of place we'd have been at where he would have picked that up. Otherwise, it was just on one of those little thrift stores, like kind of mom and pop thrift stores. It might have been one of those, but I don't have a good memory on that. I showed this mug. It had a bear on it a couple weeks ago, and I was saying how I thought the bison one would go faster because I thought was a little less common, but it did not. The bear sold first, and it sold for the full asking price of $29.99. What did I say about the microscope? It sold for $30. It was an offer. I think we sent a $30 offer and they accepted. Anyway, Montana Earth Pottery, just a local pottery company in my area. Now, I think this is funny. It says over here that 8 viewed this in the last 24 hours. Now, this is sold like a month ago. Why it's so popular all of a sudden, I have no idea, but maybe that's not even true. But it sold for $15. It's just a basic Nike hat. I don't know the big deal. Allegria, whatever you want to call it. These are just slide sandals. They look like they'd be good for like near a pool or something like that. They're kind of that stretchy waterproof material, kind of like a bathing suit. Anyway, these just sold for $20. I think those came from the clearance center, I believe. Then this hat sold for the full asking price of $24.99, so that was nice. It is just a Burlington Northern Railway baseball cap, and just a nice looking hat. You know us. I'm sure that one came from the bins because that's where we would get hats like that. I wouldn't pay up for that, even though it did sell pretty well. Then speaking of trains, we've got this Amtrak. It's just a thermal plastic kind of travel mug, and it sold for $13. Yeah, I'm not like saying that's a bolo or anything like that. Then one more on eBay for those 10 days. Like I said, that really wasn't a ton of sales for that chunk of a time. But there was a holiday weekend in there, so that probably had a lot to do with it. But check this out. I had this in my thumbnail because I need to stop buying stuff like this. Okay, so there are some typewriters that are worth really good money, and they would totally be worth the packaging, and they would be worth the time to package. I have a couple things to say about this. So we took a $127 offer on this. This antique style can be kind of tricky to sell, to move. I saw a couple at yard sales this weekend, and I was like, nope. But I had seen this at a thrift store one day, and it had been so long since I saw a typewriter like this. And I was with Mr. Pish Posh. It was, it was really heavy. And I was like, it was like $11. I was like, what do you think? Should we get it? And he was just like, I'm like, look how cool it is. It was like from a little, like a office or something right here in Montana. So it just was fun, right? And so he's like, and we don't need one for decoration or anything like that, because I think I've got like 5 of them out in my garage. Let's not even talk about it. But anyway, he can't say no to me. So this is if we're really going to be working together reselling, he's got to learn how to start saying no to me. But anyway, $127, we got this offer. It was going to like Korea. Isn't that crazy? Now we use the eBay International shipping program thing. So all we had to do was get it to where it needed to go in Chicago, or where does it go? Illinois, Indiana, something like that. But anyway, it just needed to get there, which it did. And so I haven't heard anything else since then. But it made it to at least the first step, the only part that I need to worry about, which is wonderful about that program. And so then the buyer paid on top, he paid another $100-something for the shipping and for his taxes and all that kind of wonderfulness. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do you ship a typewriter? Mr. Pish Posh did not record himself doing it. We have to all be a little more patient with Mr. Pish Posh and his shipping videos. He's got some other jobs that he's finishing and working on, and it's totally just, divided his brain between reselling and construction. And so once we're kind of back into only reselling, then those, those things will be on his mind as well, and he'll have the time to do that. So stay tuned. I have other typewriters, and I'm sure we'll end up selling and listing one eventually, and we can show you how to package it. Okay, now look how pathetic Poshmark was. I did not really keep track of that. Life just goes on. You get an eBay sale, you get a whatever. And I was compiling this, and I'm like, I sold 2 things on Poshmark in 10 days. That's like weird. Very weird. So I didn't do anything different. Well, who knows? I don't know what my listing process was like. Adding new things and refreshing old listings. It works the best for Poshmark, and I might not have been doing a whole lot of that in there. Anyway, so this is a pair of shoes that I just thought were fun looking. They took a long time to sell. I had sold the brand before, but I thought they were just cute, right? And unusual and everything. The brand is Socofy, whatever. Socofy. And they took a while. $23, I finally got an offer, so I went ahead and said, yes, please, let's move these out. And a hat for $20, Poncho Outdoors. I think we showed this in a haul one time, because I remember being like, I don't know what that brand is, but then some of you recognized it. $20 for that nice looking hat. Now over on Ruby Lane, we had a few sales. I sold this bracelet by Brighton. It's a retired pattern. It sold for $28. Water lily panel bracelet, it's called. Super cute. I have sold that bracelet twice now, I believe. Now this kind of surprised me. I usually can sell baby flatware designed for babies, really fast, really quickly. So maybe it's just the lasting rose pattern is not super popular, but look at the box even, Goldilocks and all this stuff going on. So it finally sold for $20, and I think it went to Canada. And then end of May, I am selling mink fur hats, so you just never know. Sold that for $25. And again, that either was at the bins, my clearance center, or that was at Goodwill. I don't have a strong memory of it, but anyway, look at that old label. It has the Union tag. I love it. The Woodward Shops. And so nice, pretty hat, and it sold for $25. And then a pair of earrings for $14. This type of design is called Damascene. These were Mark Spain, so I was confident in saying that they were the Damascene style. And these were just really nice looking, but clip earrings with a little pearl. It's just Damascene right now. To me, it's not getting super, super high prices. I'm sure there's collectors and things like that, but I put it at $14, and it actually sold maybe within a week or two. So I'm happy to move jewelry pretty quickly. These have been sitting in a pile. You don't even want to know how long those have been sitting in a pile. So let's move stuff on. We're going to end with a couple patterns. I sold this 80s style butterick for $10. Just very, very, very 80s looking. And butterick I don't get super high prices for butterick, but I do better with simplicity. McCall's. Vogue, of course, is the best. And then for Vogue, speaking of, $12. These are it's just a pattern for just the pants, these straight leg trousers. And finally, this nice sale of $30 for this designer Vogue big envelope pattern by Perry Ellis, 1980s. I think it was the jacket and a skirt. Fun stuff. But anyway, I have other videos about sewing patterns. If you're new to my channel, you go back, I have, a whole playlist on what to sell, and sewing patterns were a couple videos in there. But I'll go ahead and put a link to it at the end of the video. And anyway, you guys, leave me a comment. You know the drill at this point. If you've seen my what solds before, leave me a comment down below of your best sale, your best find, something notable that happened in your reselling world this week. And I will talk to you later on.